and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
I'm having a problem because I always feel bigger than, it's because I'm sitting forward and they're all sitting backward, and apparently it makes a lot of difference. Anyway, welcome back to Sticks and Strings. It is late January. I can't believe that.
And it's already the 20, is today the 25th?
Yeah, and we've had actually winter weather. It's been really kind of cold.
And you know, honestly, you guys that are in the polar vortex and all that.
I'm sorry.
It's
cold to us.
I mean, it snowed in Florida again. So when I say again, that's because it snowed in Florida when I was living there.
I saw a reel with some guy going, "Hey, Canada, you left your door open. Shut it. We don't want this weather down here." That'd be funny.
But in the mornings, it's so cold.
The other day, I woke up and I was getting ready for work, and I looked at my temperature. It said 30 degrees, feels like 29. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I was telling you about a story I read about a lady in Arkansas, in Springfield, Arkansas, where I guess they had a lot of winter weather and their heat had gone out. And so she ordered from Walmart, some space heaters, a couple of space heaters, and they have that delivery service, that Spark delivery service. Yeah. And so so she was watching on her phone, like, you know, when the guy was coming, and it said he was 2 minutes away. And so she looked again, and it said he was 2 minutes away. And she looked again, and it said he was 2 minutes away. And she goes, well, what the heck? So she called him, and he said, no, I'm actually I'm not coming, because she said, when are you coming? Because I'm not. My car went into the ditch.
Oh, no.
And so she said, well, I needed the space heaters because her husband was undergoing chemotherapy. And so she wanted, you know, for him to be warm, whatever. And so the guy said, okay, what we'll do is you come and I'll come. We'll meet halfway, and you know it shouldn't take very long because I'm so close. And so so he met her there, and you know so she was thinking she was going to put a tip in the app, and for some reason she couldn't. And so she wanted to like try to track him down so she could give him a tip. And I guess he wasn't on social media, whatever. So, but through her network of friends and contacting him and his network of friends, because guess he lived in the same small town or something, she was able to find him, and she was going to tip him. And at first he didn't want to, but then when she explained, you know, no, he finally said, well, under one condition, because if my family and your family can meet after this and become friends and all that, you know. So, yeah,
that's sweet.
Yeah, so it was a nice story.
Oh my gosh,
freezing
it's
cold.
So cold. Well, we hope you're staying warm, snuggled up with your knitting and your cross stitch, and settle in for a little while with us. You're going first, Beth?
Yes, I'm going to go first. So last week I talked about how I had finished the Black Cat season, which was my WIP, one of my WIPs for this month. And so all I had left, I had started Our Favorite Elf, and I was I don't think I stitched too much. I think I just did like that yesterday afternoon. I mean, last week, finished the little wreath that the Santa is holding, and so I put in a handful of stitches after we filmed last week. So I didn't do any more on that. But so we dyed fabric right after we finished filming.
Oh,
and this is the fabric that I dyed. This is 28 count Lugana.
I just saw it wet wadded up, so it's nice to see it.
Yeah, so this is, I don't know what color blue that was. It was some Rit dye, blue color. But so I and I actually haven't ironed this or anything. I threw it in the dryer when I got home, and this is how it came out. So, but this is Dust of Snow by Lindy Stitches. This is one of her Jingle Ball exclusive patterns. It's a Robert Frost poem. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I rued. So I started in the upper left-hand corner, and so I did all these motifs. There's like some little 4-stitch, snowdrop things here and there. But otherwise, I got to the big crow, and I did do one thing, and this is going to be mentioned in our question of the week later on. But I changed the color on these little oval things because I was going with the DMC conversion that's listed in here, because the pattern is done in silks, but next to the silk numbers or whatever is listed the DMC numbers, right? So that's what I was going by when I started stitching this. But when I started doing these little I don't know what they are at the bottom of these things. I suppose they're supposed to be the blossoms from the hemlock tree. I don't know. But anyway, this little oval thing, there's a brown color that this is the middle of it, and then the outline of it, and then there's a pink in there. And I was looking at the picture because it's very pink. It's a very light pink color, and and when I was doing the conversion number, it was kind of just a little bit lighter shade of brown. It looked very brown, and so there was like dark brown and lighter brown, and there wasn't enough, very much contrast to it.
She left us. Okay.
So I actually went to, because I thought, well, maybe I wrote it down wrong. And I was like, no, it's right. And I thought maybe Stephanie wrote it down wrong. And so I went to, I was looking all over for a conversion chart for this, it's not Belsois, what is it? Needlepoint silk. And the only conversion chart I could find was on the Drawn Thread website, and it listed a completely different number for I think almost all of the silks that were listed. So I don't know what conversion chart Stephanie used, or if she just eyeballed it, but so it listed a different DMC number for the alternative for the conversion. So I went and dug out that number and used that here. Because I thought, well, I could just pick a pink, but I was like, no, I can't. So I looked up like that conversion chart and chose a color from there.
You couldn't pick a pink?
Yeah. I just like, well, I could.
We'll discuss that more later.
Yeah. But also on this little heart here, there's a row of blue stitches, but it's the same color as the fabric, so it kind of blends in there. You can't really tell because there's like the way the heart is designed. There's empty unstitched spaces between the outer and the inner row of the heart, and then there's another row of these open stitches, and there's a blue that goes in there, and actually in this picture either it's a very light blue or it's a more of a white color than the blue that is on the conversion that was used, but it's the blue thread is the same shade as this fabric, so it just looks like there's nothing there, but it looks nice anyway. But so I'm on the crow's body now, and I'll probably do just I don't know if I'll
So that's all.
finish.
That's just this week. You just did
Yeah.
all that this week. Wow.
Yeah, since last Saturday. Yeah. So I may finish the crow. I don't know, but I'd kind of like to do the words, but I think I'd rather just finish this crow. So I have a few more days till the end of the month, and so we'll see if I'm gonna do more of this, a little more of the elf, the Santa, or whatever. But that's for this month's WIP-GO numbers. So last night I didn't realize it was like, I didn't even think about that it was the 25th, and I just happened to be looking at my phone like very early this morning.
Today's the 25th.
Yeah.
Not yesterday.
Oh yeah, well
but she means last night.
Yeah.
When midnight passed.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so like I said, I didn't
sound
realize.
asleep at
Yeah,
midnight.
I was. Well, I woke up like at, I don't know, like 5 o'clock in the morning or something, and so I was looking at my phone, and I saw a little thing that said, the WIP-GO numbers, and were a new
For
video.
February.
Yeah, for February, the WIP-GO numbers are there, because I was like, WIP-GO, what is that about? And I looked, and people were saying, oh, it's, I'm going to be working on this and this and this in February. And I was like, oh, it's the February numbers. And so the numbers for February are 7 and 8. So, because when I did my WIP-GO chart, I just did all the Year of the Woods numbers, just bang, 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 because I had them all, in there. And so that ended up being my 7 and 8. So 7, I'm doing the bear, that's not the right one, which is this one.
Have you started that one already?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the bear. Oopsie, there he is. So I did start on the bear, and his this little frond next to him, whatever. So there he is. And let's see how much further I get on that. And then number 8 is the bald eagle, which I just started toward the end. It was one of the last calls from last year. But I got pretty far on it, actually. It wasn't as, when I first saw the chart, I thought, God, that eagle is huge, but it went pretty quickly. So I'm working on it. I got down to his tail last time.
That's neat.
But so, yeah. So there's the eagle, the bald eagle. And I did this little cabin. I was trying to get on each of these things, there's a little, some kind of cabin or whatever, in each of the designs.
Pattern,
Yeah. So I had kind of gotten a little obsession about getting the cabin done. I don't think I did it. Oh yeah, no, I didn't do it on the bear. But yeah, so there's that. And then for my new starts for this month, for February, I have, actually, they're 2 Twin Peak Primitives charts. So the Snow Angel is a freebie that I had come across on their website a long time ago, and I stuck it in a magazine, in one of my punch needle primitive stitcher magazines, and forgotten about it. I found it a few months ago when I was going through the magazine. It's like, oh, look at this. There's another chart. So this one, it's a lot white, as snowmen are, but it's cute. So I think I'm gonna find that. I have not got fabric for these, so I'll have to do another fabric hunt. And then the number 8 is, I think it's number 8, right? Yeah. Number 8 is the first time I've listed the quirky Christmas charts. And this is also by Twin Peak Primitives. And so there are 9 charts on here. So I am just going to choose one. And I kind of think I'm just going to go ahead and go with this Nicholas, this little Santa guy. And I think, if I can find it here. I just had it a second ago. Yeah. Sorry. It's 58 by 70, so it's not very big at all. So I'm going to do Nicholas, I think. And I think I already know what fabric. When I was hunting for fabric for Dust of Snow, I do have a thing of a piece of Bristol linen. I think it's 32 count, and it's kind of a natural color. And I think that's what I'm going to use for this. I'm going to do a floss toss and see. But these are the Twin Peak Primitives designs usually use DMC. So I'm assuming that I have them all. The snow angel thing is 72 by 75, so it's not all that big either, you know. So yeah, so that like I said, I just realized it last night that the numbers were released. So yeah, that's me.
Well, I'm going next, but I really want to put a thread. So I have continued to work, not as much, but because I was working on other things, but cute boots designed by Joe Gattenby for X's and O's. Sorry, I'm just all of a sudden feel like this is way too early in the morning to get up. So here's where I am. And I've made a lot of progress.
Lift it above your drink. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I can get it done in the next few days.
Are you just
it's almost
doing the
a
water
week. Yeah, and then I have to finish the back stitch. There's some on the left side of
his little face is so cute.
I know, isn't he adorable? On the left side of the bird and his boots have back stitch, but I'm really excited. I've been working on this for so long, and
you just feel like going gangbusters and getting it done.
I feel like it's just got to go. This week, one of the issues was that my room was being painted, so I put all my cross stitch stuff over where I stitched on the couch so I could organize it.
Famous last words.
Yeah, one of those things I wanted to do was put threads with fabrics, with the whatever new starts I needed to do. And most of them I had chosen when I bought the fabric. But I had them all in one spot, and for some reason I said, I'll just put them in project bags or something. I don't remember, honestly. So one of them disappeared. I'm sure it's somewhere in my cross stitch stuff, but I don't know where. So that's the kind of week I've had. So the only other cross stitch that I worked on this week, I may have worked on the snowman at some point, the hay snowman, but I don't remember. But I did do my temperature chart. And I started on the octopus too. So, you see, we had a cold day. But yesterday was warm. So,
Not
yeah.
downtown Phoenix. It was cold.
Well, when you were outside, it probably was.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, I just I really like the little fish. They're not, they don't take terribly long to do each fish. But sometimes I'm like, I think it's because I stitch in hand. I'm like, that needs to be tighter.
Mm.
But I'm having fun doing that. I can't wait to see until there's more fish and more sea creatures and stuff. I think it'll look fun. And when I was designing this, I wanted the threads to be bright colors, because I've snorkeled, in the Caribbean where you can see all the fish, and what you get from that is bright colors. And but the seaweed is always some kind of drab green, and I was like, I don't want to have these beautiful bright colored fish and have some ugly seaweed. So I made it this color that's over here. And when I stitched that, it just was like, that is so pretty. I love that color.
Oh, that's really neat.
I love that color. I mean, to go with the fish and everything, I think it looks great. So anyway, that is my temperature chart. And as we discussed, we are cold. Now, for us, it's very cold.
Yeah.
And I saw a clip, Traffic Thursdays, which is in Florida. It's kind of like Fridays with Frank here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him, but it's just traffic stops. And he was wearing a coat, and he goes, I know you guys don't think it's cold here, but and it was like about the same temperature as here.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but for us, that's cold. And I was like, yes, I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, the projects that I plan to concentrate on for February are this by Cross Stitching for Fun, I think. Yes, Cross Stitching for Fun. It's called Valentine Ornament. Valentine and I are not friends, but the Winter Cross Stitch Camp had a challenge of doing a one color cross stitch, and I couldn't find anything that was one color. Now I did download one, but it was kind of big, and I was like, I don't know. It was a Mandalorian thing called This Is the Way, and it's kind of a silhouette of him, and I was like, well, that would be really cool, but that's huge. I still want to start it, but I wanted something smaller because the whole idea is to finish it in that month, right? And I like this well enough because it's pretty. However, I decided to use, instead of a tan fabric with pink thread, and it calls for variegated thread, pink fabric with black thread.
Let me see. That's pretty.
And what does that say about my feelings about?
Oh.
No, so I like
February 14th is just another day.
I like the fact that this black just really shows up on
When
this.
you said pink fabric, I was looking at the back. I was like, that's not pink.
The back
Because
of
it's
what?
one of those.
This one, yeah.
No,
It's-
I was looking at the white because you had it
The back,
unfolded.
it's printed.
It's printed fabric.
Oh yeah. Sorry. And this fabric was given to me, so I don't know what color it originally was, and I suspect it is a GMC fabric, but I have no idea. Anyway, I like the way the variegated black looks on this.
It's
Yeah.
neat.
And I had tried to use this fabric for one of the Stitchy Princess designs. You can even see
Yeah, I
it
was gonna
here.
say, what is that white stitching? on there?
And I was like, that is not showing up. But I was just telling Beth that this heart has butterflies, and yes, it has little hearts in it. And this one up here has Happy Valentine's Day. Who am I going to give a Valentine thing to? Nobody. So I might use these little butterflies and
And
do
there
the
too.
same thing,
Yeah.
or change it around. Or I might just put Happy Valentine's Day. Although the V does kind of look like a O.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was a G when I first glanced at
Let
it.
me see. Oh. Well, that's not. That's weird.
Anyway, if I want to make it into an ornament to give to somebody, I have a couple of ideas. But overall, I don't know. And the other one, and you know, it's
One
like,
has to ask, why are you even doing it?
well, because I just want to finish it. I see. Beth has an issue with changing charts. I have an issue with starting something and not finishing it. Okay. Because I mean, that turtle, even though I really love the turtle, I can't even tell you how old it was.
Yeah.
Right. And I have another one that I started at the same time. It's a Halloween cat that I don't enjoy working on at all. Because it's got a lot of fractional stitches, and I was doing it on 18 count Ada, so I have to poke this, and the fabric I chose, I don't know, it just really hard, and I was just like, I don't like this. But I like the finished product, so I don't know. I'm debating about that one, but I haven't decided to just not do it yet. I might. Anyway, the other one I'm going to concentrate on is also cross stitching for fun. This is Art Deco Spring, and
Is that one of the ones with the bugs or whatever? Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I am
Oh.
quite a bit
Oh yeah.
on this one.
Oh, wow.
And so the circle of bugs and flowers should be done for sure. And the border, I might even get that in.
Here,
But
it's in the way for your, yeah.
I was debating about if I should just finish all of these in a circle. Now,
Oh, you mean like with the round?
instead of this
Yeah.
outer border,
Uh-huh.
because I don't have them right now because they're in storage. But I have some canvases that are circles.
Mm.
And I know that you can get them in different sizes. And so it could be finished on a canvas or one of those frames that has the circle cut out. Or I might just do the frame.
Yeah, somebody had posted that I guess they found like round canvases at like at Hobby Lobby. That they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have octagonal ones. They have, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that manufacturers have gotten away from squares and rectangles for canvases. But I don't know. I have to think about it. All four of these designs will lend themselves to being in a circle, so I have to think about that. So one of the projects that was called for was Neighborhood Dogs Show. To start, one of my new starts is on WIP-GO and one of them was called is Neighborhood Dogs Show. I don't know why I keep wanting to say store. And it's a really cute pattern. And
Who's it by?
I don't know.
No.
I don't have the pattern with me. It's a really cute pattern. And it's one of those that's in a plastic sleeve thing, you know. And I noticed that a different one that was in a little plastic sleeve thing like that stuck to another one. So it's probably stuck to something that I moved. And I was trying to look for them, but I was looking for them this morning when I needed to be getting ready to go and needing to be letting in the painter and getting dressed. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'm starting the other one first. No, I'll find it before the end of the day. But it's, you know, it's a really cute pattern with the little dogs sitting in a row like, pick me, pick me.
Cute.
And I do like watching like the kennel, what is it?
Kennel Club or whatever.
Whatever the letters are, Kennel Club show.
HAC or something.
Yeah, with them, you know, running around and looking all happy, and they're beautiful dogs. And the thing is that they're not over there saying pick me because I'm beautiful. They're over there saying pick me because I'm cute. Yeah, so I really like dogs. Anyway, the other one, I've had this for a while. The first time I saw it was on a Flosstube. Who was doing it? Proper Stitcher, I think. I think she calls herself something else now. Anyway, Luminous Fiber Arts, counting is hard.
The theme of your life.
I thought it was perfect for me. And I had purchased this fabric for it. That tells you how long ago Hobby Lobby was still carrying this.
I know, you've had that for a long time.
This is 32 count Fleur. And I don't know why they can't just say flower.
Because it's fancier to say fleur.
Anyway, the little flowers may, you know, be where I have to stitch, and honestly, I don't care. And 32 count is called for this, but it's not as big as it would seem in this picture.
Dang it.
68 by what? 120?
124.
Yeah.
They have another
Yeah, 68 is not
finishing
bad.
idea of doing it in a drum, but and I was like, oh, you know, maybe I can do it in a drum. That would be cute, except that you wouldn't be able to see all of its cuteness at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it flat better. I was just
So-
thinking that when I saw the back like that. I
Yeah,
was like,
so I think it'll have to be not in a drum. And I noticed something when I was looking at the pattern earlier. It made me so happy looking at it and looking at the fabric, because I just really love this pattern. I don't know why I haven't started it. I have no idea, because I really like it. But part of me says maybe I should start on the bottom left, because everywhere else is like
You have to
counting.
count.
It's like that one of those home improvement shows.
I have.
There's a husband and wife team, and he has in his carpentry shop
Carpentry.
a sign that says "Count once, cuss." No, count twice, cuss once.
Yeah. That's what I have in my box. Measure twice, cuss once.
Yeah.
Instead of cut once.
Yeah, for me, measuring twice doesn't work. I would still measure it wrong twice. The problem is with measuring and counting is that For me, I have to count more than twice and mark stuff to see if I'm counting right. And often I'm still not counting it right. But the problem for me is that, especially with like measuring something, you have to measure from the right spot and you have to count from the right spot. Sometimes you're like, okay, from this stitches here, I count down and then over, but it's actually not this stitch here, it's this stitch here, so so it's not just measuring, it's measuring from the right place. But that's me.
That's you? All right. I have basically worked on only one thing this week, and that's the hood. This is my own yarn that I spun. I believe that this, I've completely forgotten now, but I believe that this is a farm mix from up north from, I can't remember the name of the mill, but I think it's Mill Ends. Because it's this variegated color. I don't think it's Jacob wool because of the brown. So anyway, I believe that's what this is. So this is the hood part, and now I'm working on the cowl part. This has to be about 7 inches. I always think, it's probably 5 inches, but it's not. It's like, I think this is like maybe 3. Mm-hmm. And so this is much longer. I was measuring it against a piece of paper, right? 8.5. I'm like, that's not anywhere near. But anyway, so this is a different kind of yarn, as you can tell. I believe this. I have the information, but I believe this is a Romney spin that I did, and I just combined them because I liked the colors together, and I thought the different color cowl would be cool. And it goes from basically dark to light, and then has this dark Romney. And the Romney is a little softer than the hooded part, so that would be, around your neck kind of thing. So this is for the Hannah girl in cold Boston. And so it's a hood. It's a very loose, big hood, so you can have big hair if you want or whatever. And then the cuff. And then you can also wear it. It's hard to show, but you can wear it with the cuff turned up over your face to cover your nose, and then you have the hood as well. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going gangbusters on this. You may remember I made that red beret a few weeks ago. So my thoughts are to finish this cowl hood, and then finish the cross stitch that I have for her. I just have a little bit left, really. And then finished a little brown short sleeve sweater, and get all of it done, and then send it off to her. So
around summer?
Yeah, well, I just keep getting distracted. Like, I made that beret, and then I was going to finish the little sweater. And then I saw this pattern for this hood, and I just fell in love with the pattern. And squirrel, there I go. So anyway, it'll be fine. Whatever.
So how are you going to finish the cross stitch thing?
I don't know. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I just want to finish stitching it.
Yeah.
I'll probably just finish it flat and put it in a frame or something. No, I don't have a deadline. I'm just like, I saw this, and I figured this would be a quick knit, and it has been, but I've just been so busy. So, but it's just gone pretty fast. I mean, I think last week it was somewhere around here, right? I need to look at the film, but it's gone pretty fast, and the ribbing's going quickly now. So it's just a kind of a rustic looking thing. I don't know. Maybe she'll hate it. And what I have on the table with me today are the temperature snakes. I did not get any further. Everything that's done here is done while we were sitting here. I just didn't work on these at all, but I did keep track of the temperatures, so I have them written down, and I can get caught up, as I can. So this is Bill, this is Boston, and Boston's about to get it in the next, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 more rows, and it's going to get the darkest color because it was 19 and 21 there the other day. So this is the darkest purple, which is 21 degrees and below. So, but here's a dilemma. I wrote on these skeins, I don't know if you can see, with Sharpie. I wrote on both sides so that they could easily find them. So this is color G. And then I did H and I. But if you accidentally look at my H and my I's the wrong way, they look exactly the same. So I have to remember that they were written this way. See, look. Yeah. I picked this up. I was like, wait, which one? What? So I'm thinking about putting lowercase beside them.
Hi. Then you could hi.
Yeah.
And then we'd still be H
But
and I.
I know, my God. Anyway, so I have to remember that I wrote them vertically, not horizontally, though I can keep my colors straight. And that's really all I worked on was this hood. So I don't know why I'm obsessed with it.
I'm gonna say,
But I just found this project, and even while I'm making it, I'm like, well, I could make another one in like a real commercial fancy yarn. But I kind of love this rustic look, and I thought, she has a hat that I made from my hand spun. It's got a lot of alpaca in it, and it's like 1878, something like that is the name of the hat. And it's got a double cuff, and it comes down over your ears. And she says, it's very silly looking, but it keeps her warm. So she really likes it. So I thought, well, I'll just make her another one for my hand spun. Why not? And we'll see what she thinks of it.
I was to say,
But I keep getting distracted. That's why I'm like, I have 3 things I was like wanting to finish really quickly. And anyway. But I'm trying to free myself of guilt. I don't want to feel guilty anymore. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. And she never is like, Mom, where's my sweater? She's never like that. So she doesn't care. I did finish the beret though. The beret's finished and sitting there. It's been blocked and everything. It's ready to go. But I don't want to send that and then send something else. So anyway, I'm just going to send her a whole giant box of goodies. So that'll be fun for no reason. So.
I had thread that I was working with on this crow, and last night, I was stitching in my bed as I do, and I had like one length of thread left from the one I had pulled out, the one I was using just now, and I had one left. And a lot of times when I'm stitching like that, I'll just stick it on the little pillows beside me, right? And then like I was stitching away and I kind of fell asleep, so I thought, okay, I should go to bed. And so I was packing stuff up in the little project bag. And usually I'll put like if I have the thread bobbin or whatever loose, I'll just stick it on here and put the fabric over it and stick it in my project bag. And so that's what I thought I had done, and I hadn't done that. And I thought, I think that piece of thread is still sitting on my pillow.
Do your cats eat them?
I don't think so, but if they see it, they'll mess with it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
so
I can't leave anything like that out. Oh, speaking of which, I didn't say, but at one point in the midst of this hood, I didn't tell this story last week. I had the bag hanging on a chair, or I set it on a chair. If it's hanging on a chair, he doesn't mess with it. But it was I had just set it against my stuff, and Hobbs knocked it down, and I walked out of the bathroom, and I saw yarn across the floor. I'm like, no! I thought that he had grabbed the hood, which would have been much more disastrous. But no, he grabbed the ball and took it and had bitten through the yarn. Fortunately, because this is hand spun, I was able. I just kept knitting with it because I didn't want to have an end. Really, I didn't want to have an end on the edges, and I didn't really, want to, because this is kind of a loose, a looser knit stitch. But fortunately, because this is hand spun yarn and it's pure wool, it's not superwash, I was able to spit splice it. So you can't even, I couldn't even tell you where the ends are because it actually works well with saliva for some reason. But you like kind of fray both ends and you wet them, and then you, with friction and rubbing like that, they felt. It's like felting. And so then you can't even tell where it was. I'm like, you're lucky, stupid cat.
It reminds me of that. There's a Chewy commercial where this guy finds a cat under his truck and he brings it in, and then it shows like their first time cat owner. So the cat's like messing with stuff, like knocking stuff off the mantelpiece and scratching the couch, and then like he runs away with the toilet paper.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking about. Running away with the toilet paper.
Well, so that's me, and now it's time for question of the week. We didn't get any book recommendations last week, but that's okay.
That's because you guys are all too busy trying to stay warm.
You're too busy stitching. You don't read books.
They're trying to stay warm.
If you think of any books you think I should read, let me know. Hannah did give me one recommendation, and for my Kindle, I have it. It's called Annihilation. Right now, I'm stuck in the foreword. I'm like, I should not have read this foreword because it's kind of talking about the book, like symbolism in the book, and I'm like, I should not be reading this. I should just be reading the book. So anyway, I'm starting that. It's called Annihilation, and I can't remember the name of the author. And then Hannah also downloaded The Martian on Audible. We share an Audible account, so everything each of us downloads we can see. And I was like, "Oh, did you start that?" And it's narrated by Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Yeah, I started it, but I don't know. I don't know if it was the book that was annoying or the narrator was annoying." And I was laughing like, "Yeah, Will Wheaton, I can see that." So I'm not, because when she first downloaded it, I'm like, I heard that was a slog. That book was very like.
Compared to the movie?
What?
Compared to the movie?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the movie's great.
Yeah.
I watched the movie over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I was kind of interested to read the book, but I had heard that the book was very kind of like reading Master and Commander, like so much technical, like blah blah blah. So anyway, so she gave up on it, and so I was like, well, I commute every day. I'll just start reading it, and so I was listening to it, and I was about to give up on it the other day. I'm like, I really don't, because it's talking about how you convert hydrogen to, how you, all this stuff about how he made the water. And in the movie, it's just like, boom, he did it, But in the book, it's just like on and on and on. Oh. And Will Wheaton's reading of it is kind of like, they probably couldn't afford Matt Damon, but it would have been so much better. But anyway.
Well, that's like in Lord of the Rings. The modern the current Lord of the Rings trilogy that everybody likes.
No, but it's so beautiful. I've been reading it again.
It's a lot of fun. And actually,
the book
Tolkien's writing is very good, but it's very long and very wordy or whatever. And like there's my favorite thing was when Boromir
spoiler alert, Boromir dies.
In the movie, there's this big battle scene, and whatever, and Boromir's killed, and Frodo and Sam have already taken off, and they put Boromir in the boat, and they send him down, over the falls, whatever, and then they go running off to rescue Merry and Pippin. In the book, Gimli sings a song, and Legolas sings a song, and it's like by the time they finish singing and send him over the river, Merry and Pippin are gonna be gone. So it's like okay, but stop singing and go.
Well, I know.
But but the book is very. And I used to be online a lot back when the Harry Potter movies came out.
Yeah.
And somebody was making some comment about how, I wish they had put this scene in from the book, put it in the movie. And I'm like, they're not going to do that, because it was like some scene with Hermione making clothing for the house elves or something like that. Right. It's like, that's very interesting, but it's not, pertinent to the story of Harry Potter, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's like,
so it's like
the movies.
It's like,
Our question.
Oh, okay. Our question of the week is, we want to know, and maybe even Beth or better to ask about this, but when you have a pattern, and it could be a knitting pattern, It could be a cross stitch pattern. Are you like, I need to, or I want to use the exact yarn, the exact fabric, the exact setup, the exact threads as the model, as the pattern calls for? Or are you free to, in your own mind, to be like, I like this pattern, I'm going to use whatever I can find, I'm going to use my own favorite colors, I'm going to change the color scheme completely? So are you a rule follower in some ways, or do you often branch out? And we have one of each here. Actually, I'm also, I almost never, actually, I don't think I can recall a time when I got a knitting pattern and I was like, okay, I have to order X yarn from X store to make this exact thing. I'm always like, what yarns? Okay, what kind of yarns? What weight? Okay.
What color do I want to
Yeah,
make
and then like, well, fortunately, there's a website called Ravelry for knitters and crocheters where you can go to a pattern page and then there's a tab that says projects, and everyone who's knit those projects who has a Ravelry account puts up their photos. So, and it tells you what yarn they used. So you could go in there and see like, so like, is this pattern something that everyone can make? Because that's another thing, because sometimes you like other like real people who made it, it doesn't look great, or or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all sizes of people, you see all kinds of yarn, and you're like, okay, you get a good idea. And then I the joy for me is going and picking the yarn or asking the person, what color do you want, and then I just make it how I want to make it. But then like Beth, she was saying that she has trouble just picking colors. She likes to actually, right? You like to do the called for threads, but you are free in that you like to dye your own fabric,
right?
And you don't like to do
I don't worry about called for fabric. A lot of times, except for like in this case, the pattern is on blue fabric, and so I wanted something blue, and I knew I didn't have anything blue.
But you don't have to be
in
like
my stash,
I have to order that thing.
Yeah, but I don't have to go by the called for fabric, and a lot of times the color even it depends on, like, I'll look at it and I'll think, okay, these threads will show up nicely on this color or that color. So the called for may be a lot of times they're very neutral colors, like browns and beiges and whatever, and I'll go with very often with some kind of blue because that's one of my favorite colors. But I have greens and pinks and yellows and things like that.
So that's where you kind of express your freedom in a way.
Yeah. So for me, the fabric is a lot of times I'll either use 28 count or 32 count is kind of my go-to spot. If it's a kit, I'll use the kit Ada, but a lot of times I'll dye it because I have a thing about stitching on white. So I'll whatever color. But the threads, I've seen Flosstubes where somebody says, "Well, I just picked some colors from my stash," and it's like, because it involves too much decision making for me. I can't, and I have to like pull out all my colors and find whatever. I just like, it's easier for me to just go with the called for colors or like the DMC alternatives or something like that. So
and then Eve never uses called for colors.
If it calls for DMC thread, I probably will use the called for color.
Yeah.
If I have it. If I don't have it, I may go get it, but I may just pick a DMC color that's pretty darn close. Because honestly, some of them, the shade is so barely different that there's, pick the number next to it because it'll be fun.
Yeah.
The DMC turtle that I just finished, I knew when I started it that I wanted to put Kreinik on it. And I picked like basically one for each color. That's not exactly what I did, but I mean, close. And I can't, I don't want to spend any money on specialty threads right now, so I just use what I have. And if I don't have a thread, I may get a different specialty thread that is close to it, but I don't worry too much about that. And I don't worry too much about the called for fabric. I will on occasion get fabric from like the attic or something. Not necessarily what it called for, no, just something I want, something I like, you know. And I think that's what's really nice about picking a pattern and stitching it, is that everybody's is different. Everybody has a different sense of what it should look like when they see it. For instance, my saying, I want to put that counting as hard on the flowered fabric.
Mm-hmm.
I know the fabric they picked behind it. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I liked that flowered fabric.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we just want to know, like, and I think maybe those kinds of branching out comes with experience too, of like, you know, but you've been stitching forever, but you just, you know, so, but you branch out in terms of your fabric and that kind of thing. So we're just curious, what's your take on that? So that's our question of the week. So stories. So I have a new job description. I'm now the Symphony Seamstress. We had a chamber concert this week, and the soloist, who is our concert master, I'm there doing the marketing table, so I'm getting ready. I'm trying to stuff programs. I'm like running out of time. I'm like, and here he comes with his shirt. He's like, "Can you help me?" Because he had this shirt, and one of his buttons had loosed its moorings. Basically, it didn't come off, but the thread was like this long, like it had come on, like it was still attached to the button, and it was still knotted in the shirt, but it had pulled out of its.
And it didn't work as a button anymore.
Right. And he's like, I don't know. And so he was wearing it. And so I was like, well, I think I can. My idea was that I'd be able to. So I turned it around. He had a safety pin and a needle. I don't know where he got the needle from. And so I was like, let me see. So I was standing there, and I got the needle and I pulled the thread back through the fabric. So I pulled and I thought that I could knot it on itself, but it was too short. So then I cut it, and I thought that I could tie it, but it was too short, and he was wearing it. And I'm like, I said, okay, if I had thread, I could just sew this back on. He goes, well, they have a kit back there. I'm like, why didn't you bring the kit? So I'm like, go get the kit.
Because he's a guy.
And put something on.
Well, he had a t-shirt on underneath. Otherwise, I would not have been touching his chest. But he had a t-shirt on, and then he had his dress shirt. So it's like, go get the thread and take the shirt off, and I'll just, you know, because he had a regular black t-shirt on. So he goes back there and gets the thread and comes back, and he has a life partner, and I'm like, surely she's sewn buttons for you before, but he acted like this little helpless little baby. Anyway, it was very cute. So he goes and gets the thread, and he's still wearing the shirt, and I'm like, you need to take the shirt off, Rolf. I cannot. So he takes it off, and I'm there sewing the thread, and I'm like, our boss is going to walk in any minute, and I don't have everything done, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I got it sewn for him. But it was one of those tiny little sewing kits that comes like in a little.
Where you can't find the edge of the thread.
And the threads were all wrapped like this, and all like they were wrapped and then hooked. And so I unhooked them wrong. So I had to pull the white thread out of its, like, under the, and it was the worst thread on earth. It was, like, very thin, And
Is that one of those little, like, where the threads are like on
On
a
a
cardboard and there's...
yeah, on
Yeah.
a tiny little piece of cardboard like this, and the threads were like they were. I don't know if they were even. I don't know what they were. Like the worst polyester
Yeah.
kind of thread. And I'm like, this is not going to last. I'm like, you better get all your buttons re-sewn because the rest of them it was like a fancy shirt. It was kind of nice, but and the thread that the buttons were sewn with was like thick, like really thick. Anyway, it was weird. I'm like, where'd you get this shirt? So I'm like, well, let's add that to my resume. Symphony Seamstress. And
Or probably it was like, what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
somebody probably said, oh, Naomi.
Well, he knows me.
Naomi could probably fix it.
Yeah, he knows me, and he knew I was out there, and I had let him backstage and stuff because all the production people were already backstage. Anyway, so the production manager guy, he's like, yeah, I don't know if he goes, I don't know if he said it or if the production manager said it. I don't know if the concert master said it or the production manager, but one of them was like, yeah, you have big mom energy. Like, yeah, I'm sure I do. That's fine. Sometimes people need a
He
mommy.
just came out. Now he wants back in.
Well, because cats don't want in or out. My cat is buggy.
He doesn't want
Cats don't
in
want
or out.
in or
He
out.
wants the ability
They
to be.
want open doors. That is the actual truth.
I was going to say that in the symphony, there was always one or two of the guys that had like an extra bow tie or something like that because inevitably somebody would forget their bow tie.
Yeah.
But I remember I think it was my junior high band director talking about how somebody had like used shoe polish on somebody's
Socks.
I don't know if it's on their socks or whatever,
Yeah.
to make them black, to
Right.
make, because you can't have white socks
Oh yeah,
with
the
the black,
youth orchestra I worked
pants.
for
Yeah.
had for a while we would have a whole stash of socks and bow ties for those reasons.
Yeah.
But so that was my adventure this week.
Well, and I remember Susan one time, my colleague, the first bassoonist, she wore some like chunky nugget kind of necklace she was wearing, and they made her take it off because it was too bright and too distracting.
Yeah.
Because
then it blinks with the lights.
they had rules, like what you were allowed to wear, because women had to wear at least the 3/4 length sleeve, and your skirt or dress had to be at least mid calf, and then you couldn't wear noisy jewelry, flashy jewelry. So like if you're a violinist and you're doing this with your arm, playing, you don't want a bracelet that like is like catching the light and making noise.
Do you
and stuff
remember
like that?
Do you remember We Are the World recording? Remember that thing? There's a documentary about it where it was like all these singers from everywhere, and they all came together one night and made this recording. And during the recording, the sound guy kept saying like, there's something going on, there's some noise, and they couldn't figure out what it was, and it was Cyndi Lauper's earrings were making noise in the recording.
Well, it's like
So she had to take her earrings off.
I
It was
had
so funny.
for Christmas, I had one of those jingle ball necklaces.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wear that because
Yeah.
like that's if I can't move.
Yeah.
Because it'll make too much noise. So yeah.
Well, I've got to work tonight, so we better go.
This is why we're recording
so
when I'm
early,
still
yes.
asleep.
Yeah.
At the butt crack of dawn.
So thanks for joining us again for another week. We appreciate you all so much, and we will be here again next week.
Yes.
Get all your stitching done, or bring it to the table and join us every Sunday morning. Thanks so much. We appreciate you so much. Have a good week.
Bye.
Eve, say bye. Bye.